Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 38 of the ENFERNO Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Blaze Inferno. If you're new to the show, hello, and thanks for coming by. And if you're a returning listener, as always, we love y'all, man. Come back. Come on. We got a good one for you today, man. As always, we were recording this podcast on July 9th. The same as the other podcast, because, yes, episode 37 and episode 38 are dropping on the same day. We're giving you a double pack zebra cake, tasty cake episode of the motherfucking podcast this week. We're giving you 2 podcasts this week. Up to motherfucking, probably 4 or 5 hours worth of content. So fuck with us, you know what I mean? And on this podcast, I got motherfucking 4 co-hosts. 3. I don't know why Craig. I counted Craig. I counted Craig. Listen, I just got off a stream. These motherfuckers made me take 4 shots. Yeah.
Craig's our producer, man. Shout out to him.
Shout out to Craig, man. But my first co-host, you know what I mean, out in Nebraska, we gonna go see him on Labor Day weekend. We're gonna talk about that after the podcast, by the way. But you gonna see my motherfucking nigga. We're gonna turn it the fuck up when we get the fuck about that show, man. We're gonna turn it up. Shout out to my man Byrd 93, but we just call him Byrd.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? What's going on? Y'all know me. Preaching the positivity. You know what I'm saying? Get out there, work with them kids. Y'all know me, big brother, big sister.
Yes, sir.
Also, soon to be firefighter. You know, out there doing my things.
Talk to him.
Yes, sir. I'm gonna let it go over the one.
Yeah, my second co-host, you know him as the man Warren G. Harding, but he ain't the nigga that owns the bank. But he gonna own a bank one day. Shout out my man Warren G, man.
Don't even say. This nigga gonna own a bank one day. This nigga just be saying anything. Like last podcast, I was a Vince Staples fan, and now I'm owning a bank.
No, that's your nigga now. Apparently, you said it was a solid album. You said that shit was solid. Yeah, he really did. He was like, let me keep this trend up. You know what I mean?
It's like, how much does a nigga know me at this point? That's be ascribing everything to me at this point. Like, damn.
Hey, yo!
What it do, y'all? I was just a nigga that's educated, a nigga with a master's degree, a nigga that just started a book club, a nigga that's trying to start classes to get their PhD out in the fall and whatnot. All right.
Talk to him.
A nigga stay busy out here, okay? Booked and busy.
Talk to him. Damn, let's go. And then my third co-host, she don't play no games with me no more, but you might remember if you know what I mean, you go back a little bit. I mean, you peep the history of Blazed Inferno and everything, the podcast, all that. Even my stream shit, you know, twitch.tv/Blazed X Inferno just had a fire stream, you know. I mean, 20 people up in there. Let me pop my collar. You know what I mean? But you might remember her. She used to always be there for me. Now she's never there because, you know.
Oh, my God.
She don't love me no more. But, I mean, Sleepy Vitani, man, go ahead and shout out your socials. Let them know what's good with you, man.
Hey, everyone. I'm Sleepy Vitani, and my socials are Sleepy Vitani everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram. Content's coming to YouTube in August, and I'm going to be dabbling in a new type of genre area. We'll see how that goes. And I do love Blaze X Inferno, and I'm always going to be here for Blaze X Inferno, so don't let him lie to you.
And 24-hour stream coming soon.
Oh, yeah, and a 24-hour stream since, you know, my year-anniversary in Twitch.
Yeah, it's about to be Leo season, apparently. Some shit.
Yes,
like
sir.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, but
sir.
Byrd is a Leo, so yeah, I mean.
Oh, 2 Leos, because I'm a Leo, too.
Yeah. I mean, you already know who. You already listen. You listen to this voice. If you're listening to this voice right now, you're like, yo, who the fuck is this guy right here?
Cancer.
You fucking up. Because you already know who it is. He's your boy Blaze X Inferno, man. You can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You know what I mean? Your motherfucking baby mom crib at Blaze X Inferno. You know what I mean? But mostly Twitch because I stream 4 times a week at twitch.tv/BlazeXinferno. If you listen to this podcast on Apple or Spotify, make sure you rate this podcast 5 stars, you know what I mean? Because it helps us move up and we trying to go up. You know what I mean? So this episode is a very special episode, one that we've had a talk about for a long time. This has literally been a long time coming, y'all. We got a mental health, big vibes podcast coming for y'all, man. You know, I've been talking about having a mental health Monday for a very long time, and here it is, man. So, you know, we can kind of, you know, talk about mental health and, you know, how to take care of, you know, your mental and stuff like that. All right here. You know what I mean? And I'm going to let my boy Byrd, my boy Warren kind of take over, especially Warren, because he the one, you know what I mean, went to school for this motherfucking shit. So
Almost a doctor.
we gonna let the man with the bag, you know what I mean, go ahead and take the floor with this. So, you know what I mean? Let's go.
God damn, nigga's supposed to freestyle off the rip of this shit, all
Put you
right?
on the spot. Putting you on the spot.
It's all good though. It's all good.
No, this is decent practice, okay? Because a nigga want to be a moderator in his own right, okay? Especially when it comes to like book clubs and shit, right? But all right, though, I want to pose a question to the panel.
Yes.
How is everybody feeling?
I'm good right now.
Well, let's just give me a roll call, okay? Everybody start. Tell me how they feeling.
Go ahead, Byrd. We're gonna start with you.
I'm feeling good. Are we talking about just like one answer, or are we talking?
I mean, you know, you can elaborate if you want. Go ahead, talk about yourself.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah, man, I'm good. Like,
this is a safe place.
Safe place for everybody.
But Craig's recording, so best believe the feds is listening.
Yeah. Nah, I'm good, man. Shoot, you know, like this thing, life is a never-ending roller coaster, going up and down, up and down. Like, and this year, like, it started off pretty fucking shitty. You know what I'm saying? And things started turning around, and I saw some promise. I saw out. Like, everybody who know me, y'all know I'm in the Air Force and shit. And I thought I was going to a banging base in Korea with a banging job. You know what I'm saying? Working for the Space Force and shit. And then, like, that got taken away from me, you know? So I'm thinking, damn, I'm still stuck here in Nebraska. You know what I'm saying? Nothing against Nebraska, the Omaha area. It's nice, it's beautiful and all that. But sometimes you just want to change the scenery. You know what I'm saying? So I was just down, and then, you know, I got a new boss, new commander, and he just put like a lot of faith in me and all that. It made me feel wanted. It made me feel important. It made me feel like I can still do a whole lot more where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So
Thanks.
that just ignited a fire in me. And like, I've always been like busy in my community while I've been out here. That's been one of my main goals and stuff. And now I got more stuff that I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? And it's gratifying. So I'm good. Also got a new lady in my life. So, and she's amazing, you know, so everything's just looking up. So I'm good. That's me.
If y'all can see my face right now, oh shit. So proud of my boy, man.
Hey, man.
Right, we're gonna point the finger at Vitani, man. How have you been doing mentally lately?
Mentally. I'm doing better. I think I'm doing a lot better than how I've been in the beginning of this year. I think that I'm progressing in a healthy way and taking the world by storm slowly. Not as fast as I wanted to in the beginning, but still doing my thing. So I feel like I'm doing okay.
Hell yeah.
Hey, it's a marathon, not a race.
Exactly.
Right. That's right. What about you, Warren?
Not a sprint.
What's it? I'm a lot better these days. I would. What's it? Year started off fairly well. Highly optimistic about like the prospects. I mean, I'm in a job that I currently enjoy, and but still have ambitions of wanting to pursue more and do more. As far as publishing work or going to get my PhD and things of that nature. But taking everything just one step at a time. At a certain point around, I want to say early March, pretty much throughout the month of March, I hit a down period. I'm not going to get into details of what the catalyst for that was, but it kind of like made me, it reignited feelings of like trust issues, abandonment issues, and just overall, negative feeling associated with a lot of the relationships that I had before. Nothing with like, like you guys in particular, just, it made me realize like how much I missed having you guys around as like as frequently as you did. So it was kind of like transition moment to kind of like come to grips with the transition into this world of just like things aren't the way they once were. But I took the initiative and I started seeing a therapist. And she's helped wonders. She's, if anything, reaffirmed in the person who I am and who I intend to be down the road. Who am I? I care for people. I'm a leader in my own right. I'm confident. I'm ambitious. All those sorts of things. And she's given me ways to kind of cope with the negative feelings that I've had, have been dealing with in the past month. But also at the same time, and I credit this to like, the catalyst for my turnaround even was when Byrd came through and stayed with me for about 2 weeks and so, and it showed me him along with other people who've kind of showed out for me that how much I am loved and valued in my community and amongst my friends. And it's stuff like that puts everything into perspective and wanting me to kind of like value those who've always been there for me and has always showed out whenever I needed them to be. And not to put way too much emphasis on those who have let me down in the past. So I'm in a space right now where, again, I've just about 95% fulfilled my New Year's resolution of starting a book club.
Okay.
Because I want to, connect with community and have conversations about very complicated social and cultural issues and so on. So, I'm in a fantastic space right now. I'm meeting new people, having conversations, but also not putting too much stock in those relationships because at the end of the day, I know where my relationships stand, the ones that really mean something to me. And we're going to Nebraska in friggin' September, dog. Okay,
That's
so
right.
we turning up out there for sure. But to transition though, I'm gonna ask you guys again. Ask you guys something differently now. What are some of the things that you've done to kind of like, I know how I've mentioned that I've gone to therapy, and I'm not sure how, all of you have coped with whatever it is you guys have been going through, but what exactly that you guys, do or utilize that have allowed you to kind of like create a much more positive space for you guys while it's in a down period?
Okay. Well, to me, like working towards getting better, that's been an ongoing thing for years. You know what I'm saying? Like Derek Warren, y'all know my backstory. Like if need be, we can get into it later. But one thing that always like keeps me going is just trying to find ways to improve. Now, when I have bad moments, they can be really fucking bad. Like we all have moments that are worse than others, But last year, I had my first ever anxiety attack, and for people who've never had one, it's scary. Like you're sitting there, it's like you really don't know what's going on. You know what's bothering you, but you don't know what's happening to your body. You start shaking. You can't really like get the words out. You just start crying. It was like a crazy ass thing. And like me, I've always worked on like trying to get my how how I act together and stuff like that, trying to get rid of bad habits. But with that, I was just like, holy shit, this is a real thing. And then later, like, I had like not another anxiety attack, but I realized like, yo, this anxiety is a real thing. So in the past, I've spoken to, like, in the Air Force, we have a lot of options. I've spoken to chaplains, you know what I'm saying? I've spoken to other people, therapists, and all different types of people, and they all help. And I love getting an unbiased opinion, you know what I'm saying, by somebody who doesn't know me. Because it's like, Warren, we talk about this, like, when it comes to people who, your friends and stuff like that, like, their job is to comfort you.
Right.
I don't want to necessarily get an opinion from someone who's going to just comfort me. You know what I'm saying? Give it to me straight. Not a lot of people can do that. So, speaking to them, and also like just getting a lot of like me time. If it was one thing that coming in Nebraska like did for me, like, I've gotten a lot of me time as opposed to when I was in Japan and just out all the damn time, concerned with like all these other people, you know what I'm saying, trying to make sure they're good, like younger people and stuff like that. So that's just one thing. And also like making sure that I ask my friends like real questions if it like comes to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, to see if stuff is valid. And like I said, just learning how to handle my emotions, how I treat people, you know what I'm saying? Because when we going through stuff like that, that can create other issues. When you going through something and someone's trying to be there for you, sometimes you push them away, sometimes you lash out at them. You may not mean it, but it does happen, and you don't want to ruin a great relationship because you're going through something, so that's how I've been handling with the stuff.
Okay.
Solid. Derek, I don't think we've gotten to you in regards to how, one, you've been feeling, and on top of how you've been able to cope, because I know instances in our past and everything like that. I mean, we talk about this all the time off mic and whatnot, that you in particular have also come a long way in regards to your development, your mental space, to get you into the point. Like, for everybody that's out there, Blaze Inferno was not made overnight.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This guy that you see in front of you on your Twitch streams or everything like that, I mean, he's had his moments. He's had his dark periods, but we've seen him overcome to become the person that you see in front of you today.
Yeah, man. And a lot of it. Damn. So to go back to the first question, how have I been feeling lately? Amazing. Great, even. I mean, life is so good, and the thing that I tell a lot of people is life is so good right now that it feels wrong that it's this good. Like, it feels like something bad needs to happen at this point. Like, it's so goddamn good right now. Like, things are it's just been dope. Maybe for about the past year. Yeah, I mean, I would say since about September, October, November-ish, when I really started streaming and really taking this thing seriously. Things have been good, man. I've had great people in my corner, as Byrd, Warren, E-Night, always been in my corner. But I met a lot of good people through streaming, like Vitani, that's on this podcast. I mean, I met her through streaming, and we're on the level where it's like, we're so goddamn close. It's just it ain't about nothing. You know what I mean? And so life is good, man. Life is really good. I don't even know what to say more than that, man. Just life is good. Streaming is good. Work is good. My offline relationship is really good, just with life in general. The other question you asked was, what contributes to that?
Or more so, what exactly do you do, to kind of address anything when you're dealing with, like, any hard times in particular? Like, when you're experiencing any sort of negativity in your life, how do you address those types of periods? Like, how Byrd was talking about, he's spoken to chaplains, therapists,
Yeah.
and, third parties that have kind of given him evaluations to allow him to kind of get perspective on what exactly he's feeling. I've mentioned that I've gone to therapy and so on. So what exactly, have you done? What is the work that you've put in to kind of like invest in your own mental health?
Yeah. Well, damn, that's a loaded question.
I mean, it can be something as like simple as beyond just like therapy. Like you can say something like this, for example, or something like the streamings and everything like that.
Because look, we gonna get deep on this podcast. I can tell. I've already kind of mentally prepared myself to kind of just unpack. I get a lot of questions about my mental health. My DMs on stream a lot of times. And I've kind of been waiting for a time like this, kind of just let it all out. But I don't need to tell Warren. I don't need to tell Byrd anything. I really don't even have to tell Vitani anything because she already knows what it is. I mean, me and her have had multiple talks about mental health and all types of things. What contributes to this, and it sounds corny, but it's really just just the lifestyle that I've been living for the past year and a half. I've just been and it's gonna sound crazy too, it's gonna sound a little selfish as well. But I've just been really just focused on me, my streaming, my content, just giving y'all the best I can on stream, off stream, on this podcast, just any type of way possible, because like I said, it sounds corny, but what contributes to it is you guys listen to this podcast right now. You guys are the one that contributes to everything that's happening right now. You know what I mean? I've been in a great mental space for about like I said, about a year and a half now. Ever since I started streaming, kind of opened my eyes to certain things, and a lot of that, honestly, I have to thank Vitani for, because a little backstory. I mean, just a little bit, nothing too serious. When I first started streaming, it was just a hobby. When I started doing the podcast, it was just a hobby. Vitani's one of the first people to really come up to me and be like, "Look, you can take this to the next level. You can really do this. You have the passion, you have the drive, you have the charisma, everything behind it to really just do this damn thing." And I was like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because my whole thing always with the streaming podcast, just content creation in general, is just I want to have fun with it, because if I have to think of it as a job, I feel like I'm not going to enjoy it as much. But even still, I've been having the time of my life, man. I'm not going to lie to you. There's been plenty of times where, as most of y'all know, if you follow me on, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, at BlazeDexInferno,
This nigga cannot do nothing without shameless plugging something, but all right.
You know what I mean? Shameless plugging, you know what I mean? You already know that I work a lot. I work like 12, 10-hour shifts a lot of times, 5 to 6 days a week. So it can get kind of vicious sometimes, man. And sometimes I'm not gonna lie to you. Them Tuesday, Thursday streams, they become kind of difficult. You know what I mean? They become kind of difficult just because, I work so much. I just be tired. I just be like, let me just lay the fuck down. I just want to sleep. I want to relax. But, when you're working on your dreams, you're working on, ambition, all of that, you know what I mean? There's no time for sleep. There's no time for rest. You know what I mean? I'm really trying to build something right now that can last a lifetime, last a generation. And unlike a lot of people in the community, and this ain't even a shot to nobody. This is real shit, you know what I mean? Unlike a lot of people in the community, I was just saying that shit today on stream. I'm going to give y'all the same shit that worked for me to hopefully work for y'all. You know what I mean? And that's just how I am, because I want everybody to be able to achieve their dreams and make it and do what they want to do in this space at all times. And that's the one thing I love about this podcast, my streams, everything, is that I'm slowly creating a community, a space for just people to come together and be like-minded and, you know, just share their passions, their love for whatever it is. I mean, whether it's music, movies, gaming, working out, whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? There's a space for you. I mean, and
this nigga gonna have like a fitness podcast or some shit.
Nah. We're gonna let Rambo handle that. You know what I mean? Shout out Rambo. We're gonna let him handle that. But for the most part, you know, this has been a great journey. This is episode 38 of the podcast. I can honestly say, from episode 1 to episode 38, been having a great time. Great time. And I hope you guys have people that have been on and off the podcast and, you know, people listening. I hope you guys enjoy this, because this is going to be the most real and the most raw podcast we're going to give you. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people see me on stream and they're like, yo, you know, Blaze is so positive. He's so this. There's a lot of shit that contributes to this. A lot of shit that contributes to this strength. And we won't get into that. We won't get into that.
Okay.
Get into that for sure.
And what's it? I don't want to leave our other guest out of this. So, Vitani, you know, to the question regarding, like, you know, what exactly do you do to kind of cope or manage any type of, you know, negative emotions that you may have experienced in the past or even currently right now? You know, how do you get by? How do you maintain?
Honestly, it's very hard for me to get out of character, get very upset, or to let things rattle me up, only because I'm like really big on self-care. And I also I have too many eyes on me at home, in real life, and online. Like, my Instagram's filled to the brim with DMs of people feeling comfortable enough to tell me their issues and me trying to not alleviate them. Of course, I always say, if you really feel like something's wrong, seek help, you know? And it goes hand in hand. When I'm upset, or when I do have that real rare moments of I feel out of control, um, I just isolate myself. I throw myself into whatever I'm doing because I am a workaholic. Like, I'll work at 4 a.m. to like 2 p.m., take a nap, and then start streaming right off the jump. If I'm not working and I have to sit and think, that's when I start feeling some type of way. Like, I can do more. I need to do more. I want to do more. I have an obsession with success. I have an obsession with being successful and making people successful. That's why I push Blaze as hard as I can. And people can say like I'm like a soccer mom, like I'm pushing too hard. But it's like, if it's a hobby, that means you can make it your career. If you love something enough, I think Michael Jordan actually said that. If you love something enough and it's your passion, make that your career, because it'll never feel like work. And Inferno loved it and I love it. So it's like, I always keep myself busy. And I'm the type of person who is like down for trying everything. Burning sage recently, been doing wonders. Playing with these crystals, doing wonders. Prayer, doing wonders, you know. Bubble bath, whatever I need to take time for myself, I do it. Especially reading and gardening. Like, a lot of people say like I'm an old lady, but I love playing in the dirt. I love harvesting from my vegetable garden. I love picking up a good book and just reading it and just going into a whole different world. So that's kind of what I do for self-care. Now, if it's really bad and like there's no coming back from it, isolation immediately. I immediately isolate from some people because I might say something I don't genuinely mean. And I believe you say something out loud, you can't take that back.
Yeah.
You meant it. No matter like how far, or like even if it wasn't like heat of the moment, you came up with it. So I immediately isolate myself. My phone's off. No one, don't do pop-ups because I won't answer the door. I just keep to myself and allow myself to feel all that emotion and then evaluate and be like, are you good? Was that okay? Do you feel
Mm-hmm.
better? Why did that happen? What triggered it? What what can we do to not let that happen again? And if it does happen again, what is a better way we can handle this? Then, right now it's writing. I write it all down on paper. I try to like do that whole circle box thing we learned in high school. Like, okay, what is this going on here? And I go from that. That's kind of how I deal with negative emotions, or not really negative, overwhelming emotion. I get very overwhelmed with what I'm feeling, and I feel everything in that one moment. So I do what I have to do to handle it in the best way possible, because again, too many eyes are on me. Infernal, like my family, other people who are streaming, people on my Instagram, they're all watching me, and I can't allow myself to crumble. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
I'll stick with you for a second, okay? Because you mentioned a couple things that like I can even relate to, the whole isolation thing, because I would have a tendency to do that. That's kind of like the nuclear option, at least on my end. Whenever things get really bad, the best thing I can do is just kind of separate myself and just kind of allow myself to evaluate myself and my emotions, the thing that I'm feeling. And you engage in a level of not even just self check, but introspection, to kind of,
Yeah.
make sure everything is kind of leveled off. But I want to ask, like, with that isolation, and I want to see if this is like anything compared to what I've experienced, but when you do that isolation, do sometimes others take it personally?
Yeah, a lot of people will take it personally. I can say only 2, no, 3 people in my life from being 28 years old have never taken it personally. One is Blaze X Inferno. I had some serious stuff happen to me February, and I completely shut down. I've been working like crazy. My stream has been inconsistent. Just a hot mess with, because I have OCD. So like I usually have everything organized, planned. No, right now it's just all over the place, scattered. And he gave me my space. E Night 117, another person who's been reaching out, talking to me here and there, but when I don't respond, completely understand. And then Black Knight 79. He's persistent. He'll message me and blow my phone up until I tell him, hey, I need time. But everyone else, real life, online, I'm not going to just say everyone. There we go. A lot of people get very, very, very personal, especially my family, because they're all, like I said, they're watching me, they're relying on me, they need me. I don't have time to grieve or take care of myself because I'm so focused on others. So in that one split second when I need time for me, everyone's out of control. They don't know what's going on. I'm selfish. I'm all this and everything else because they're used to having all of me. So yeah, a lot of people take it personally or feel some type of way.
I'm glad you brought that up because this is more in regards to like the support aspect for the people who are on the outside looking in towards people who are experiencing something. It's you illustrated the dichotomy of this, what friends ought to do. They listen to you whenever
Yeah.
you're saying that, hey, this isn't anything personal in regards to you, and rather than making it about them, they listen and adhere to what it is your wishes in regards to how to best deal with you when you're in those particular spaces. That's the
I
best way.
agree.
Like, that is the best way, as friends, when we're looking at our friends who are experiencing and going through things, we want to help. And sometimes we want to be the solution. We want to, tell me everything that's going on.
Yeah.
I can make it better. I can fix this and whatnot. It's having the kind of humility to recognize that maybe I can't fix anything in regards to what you're dealing with. But
Oh
I have
yeah.
to have the trust in you that if you're, dealing with this on your own, that you're going to be sure you're going to deal with it. And if you need anything, I'm there for you. I always tell people, again, your friends aren't your therapists. Their main job is to be supportive. They
I
need to
100% agree with that.
they have to put themselves out there to be available for you when you need them, but not in a codependent, overly reliant type of way. But say sometimes I need somebody to take my mind off of this right now. So let's just talk about anything else besides what I'm dealing with. Sometimes let's just, hang out. Or sometimes I want to vent and not want to hear any sort of feedback whatsoever. I think it is incumbent upon the person who is providing support to ask, hey, what it is that you want me to do, and I'll do it. My job isn't to project what I believe will work for you onto you. This isn't about me at this particular time. So if I need to rearrange things, if you need to talk to me about certain things, I'm here for you. But I am not the solution to the problem. When it comes to these particular things, kind of what Vitani had illustrated before, a lot of this, we have to be the ones to be willing to put in the work to address these sorts of matters. Otherwise, it becomes a codependency. When we see it a lot in a lot of our romantic relationships or even our friendships, we can't always rely upon our support group to be the ones to take us over things that are deeply personal and maybe even traumatic with our own experiences. So I'm glad, each and every one of us has, either reached out for help or we have our own, means to, address the things that we're kind of going with so that we can both cope with it and exist with it and maybe possibly delay, addressing it down the road, but it's still work nevertheless in regards to what we're doing. Mm-hmm. Now, I want to, similarly to what I asked Vitani, have you guys in your own world, experienced negative pushback from you experiencing a down period? I can start with you now, Byrd, because we haven't heard from you in a minute.
Wait, say that again.
Have you experienced any sort of negative pushback, people taking it personal, whatever, taking your personal issues and making it about them and only compounding upon the negativity that you're currently experiencing?
So, it's tough because in a broad spectrum, I can say no, majority wise, because people know that I'm always there for them. So in that I'm always really upbeat. You know what I'm saying? And I smile a lot and stuff. So when I don't, people, they'll come to me, but you all right? You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things where people keep asking you if you're okay, and you yeah, and then they keep asking you, and then it starts getting on your damn nerves. To me, that shows yeah, I've done a good job of picking out solid friends that do care. You know what I'm saying? But I wouldn't say it's anyone gets really mad at me or it's negative pushback. It may have been times like I said earlier, you're going through something and then you can possibly say something, and it's also what Vitani said, once you say it, it's out there. You know what I'm saying? You said it and you meant it. You know, I wouldn't say I've necessarily had anyone come at me I'm doing something to them because I'm going through something, but I definitely just learned it's a better way of reassuring people, that way that they don't kind of go on the offense because you're on the defense and stuff like that. Like you said, Warren, me, I definitely had those big isolation periods that have done me well. People know where I'm at. I let it be known where I'm at. I want people to know yo, worst come to worst, you don't hear from me in 5 days. You know what I'm saying? I don't want people to not know my whereabouts or anything like that. But nah, I can't particularly say that I've gotten into those type of situations. At least not right now. Something will probably come up later.
You do have those moments where you do go dark, on occasion and whatnot. And
deleting social media.
Yeah, things like that and all that kind of stuff. And I always look at that as more of he's taking some time to invest in himself and get himself together, because it's gotten to the point where it's this is just I think, and I've done that once, and whilst going through my thing in March. I took off the entire month of April, and it did wonders for me, actually. Like,
Yeah.
it allowed me to kind of like also perceive social media a whole lot differently from the outside looking in. I was so glad that I was not there on social media during the Will Smith slap, because man, that shit is weird.
It was crazy. That's why, like, I like me getting rid of social media. Like, if I'll stay on social media, I choose like one main social media for a period of time. You know what I'm saying? Because you do have different people on different ones, and like, to me, Facebook is like super duper OD toxic. I don't even like bother with Twitter. I deleted my Twitter back in like 2014. But like, to me, it's like the division. You know what I'm saying? All the arguments and stuff like that. People are extremely tribal on social media. And yeah, it can get to those things. Like, I don't really voice too many political opinions anymore. I don't like. I'll always speak about being a better person, something like that, or I'll like post things that help people like educate themselves on things that they didn't know, or like see things from a different perspective. Like, I tell y'all, I try to be as unbiased as possible. Like, we all going to be biased at some point, but I try to like understand things and why people do them that way. You know what I'm saying? That way I don't get upset. That way I can show other people not to get upset at those things. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, to me, like, over the past, like, since I joined the Air Force, Snapchat was like my primary social media. And then, like, after I got back from my deployment from Kuwait, I just like got rid of it. You know what I'm saying? Because like, it was time for the self-reflection. And Snapchat is one of those things where I feel like people, they want to know what you doing, and it's like, if they don't see it, they think that you're not doing shit. And to be honest, that's all right. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, like, everything that I do is going to show up eventually, and people going to see it. You know, like Vitani said, I'm very big on success. You know what I'm saying? And I'm very big on putting others in positions to get success. That's what I care about. You know what I'm saying? People I'm around doing good, the people that know other ways to talk to me besides social media, making sure that they good and stuff like that. You know, that's why I'm always out here in the community and stuff like that. When I work, I bust my ass. I be, most of the times, I'm the last one in the office. You know what I'm saying? And that's not by mistake. You know, that's just habits that I developed. But yeah, man, social, like, just doing stuff like that, it's good. You know, it makes you feel free. Don't make you feel latched on to something, or like people anticipating you doing something or saying something, you know, because people get like that. You can like not post something, and then people be like, good Byrd, I ain't see nothing. It's like, oh damn, just because I ain't post nothing, it's gotta be something wrong. You know, so me personally, I got to a point where I'm not the biggest fan of that. Right now I'm on Instagram and stuff like that more than anything, but like, yeah, I leave everything else alone right now.
See, that's a good transition point right there. I want to leave that up to the panel. Like, has social media for you guys been helpful or hurtful in regards to your mental health? Is this nigga drinking milk?
Nah, dog, this pineapple juice.
Oh, I'm about to say, you drinking a carton of milk out of nowhere in the middle of the podcast record? That is, this nigga is serial killer, man. Get this nigga off the goddamn podcast. Whose man is this? Back to y'all guys. Like, what's it? Has social media for you guys? I'm gonna start with you, Derek. Has social media in its entirety, when you're not promoting or anything like that? Maybe let's go back to prior to you starting this venture in streaming. Has social media been helpful or hurtful for you in regards to your mental health? Because I'm gonna preface it with, you know, the constant perception and pressures that are usually given to you on social media about where you ought to be in life.
I'm gonna say no, because I've never let social media have that much power over anything. I think social media, I was just having a conversation with an OG about this shit the other day, and I was
Which OG? Because that's important.
not the one you think.
Okay.
Nah, but I was, you know, having a conversation. I was just letting them know, like, you know, people give social media like way too much power. Like, oh, I'm in a relationship. It's time to delete social media. Like, why? Like, why? You ain't mentally strong enough to be like, oh, let me chill the fuck out to, not wild out on social media. You know what I mean? And I just think, in general, I just think that, people give social media way too much power, man.
Mm-hmm.
They give it way too much motherfucking power, man. It's just social media has never been that big of a thing for me until now. To where, it weighs on my mind. Like, oh God, like I tell people all the time, like it's great to connect with friends and be able to easily talk to people that are far across the country and see how they're doing, or in a different country, if that. At the end of the day, man, that's all it is, man. Like I just like to have fun with social media, share memes, look at booty pictures, you know what I mean? Bitches twerking and shit like that. That type of thing, man. That's all social media is about, man. Ain't that right, Vitani?
Yes, sir.
Right. That's right.
I will offer a little bit of pushback because like I see what you guys are looking at, the way you're looking at it, and I agree with you for the most part, where you want to look at social media more as like a utility rather than a reflection on what is real life.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm always, wanting to lend the empathetic ear upon somebody who, may be experiencing things in their own world. And this is just one of like the various different forms of escapism that many of us have to kind of find those levels of community. And sometimes that community can be good and, can find yourself in little groups that have little niche hobbies and things are fine. And then the toxic end of that spectrum is finding yourself in a white supremacist group. I mean, it's all possible. It's all possible, though. I'm not even going to front. It's all possible.
This nigga ain't lying. niggas not lying because, listen, there's a lot of wild, like I tell people all the time, like, I love Twitter, but like too much Twitter is like, you got to chill. Like Twitter is wild, bro. Mm-hmm. Twitter is one of the like most toxic, dangerous social medias. Like Byrd and Warren know this a lot. One thing that I hate most in the world is virtue signal. Like, I hate that shit. Like
I was just talking to my therapist about this too.
Yeah, if an ideal isn't your own, like shut the fuck up. Like, you know what I mean? Like all that, I really don't agree, but I'm too afraid to disagree because, what I mean? Shut the fuck up with that. You know what I mean? Shut the fuck up with that. It's just have your own ideas, have your own opinions. And I feel like Twitter is like it's just not that type of space, man. Everybody is, if you disagree with them, they will listen. Last week, right? My friend, this kind of like a little sidebar, but it goes with the conversation we're having. A friend of mine posted or commented on Lizzo's post and said that, we need to stop glorifying, people being overweight, unhealthy, living an unhealthy lifestyle, all that. Bro, she got nailed to the cross and burnt all over again, dog. And it's crazy because whether you believe it's true or not, she got destroyed because of that shit. And all I could do is watch because I was like, I got no opinion on that type of shit. But it's crazy that if somebody does have an opinion for it, and if the masses don't agree, they're immediately just, discredited for it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes. And it's, go ahead.
No, go ahead, bro.
No, and I feel like Twitter is just bad for that shit, bro. It's just like Twitter is just a safe space for just anybody, like literally anybody. Like,
See, the way you feel about Twitter is the way I feel about Tumblr. It's a cesspool.
The worst type of people can get on there and speak their shit and be prophets. It's like man, shut the fuck up, man. Like, ain't nobody trying to hear that shit, man.
Right.
And that's how I feel about a lot of that shit that goes on with social media. But that's why I tell everybody, like, when I post shit on my, personal Facebook or my personal Twitter, or my personal Instagram. So I wild out on my personal Instagram. I'm gonna keep it real. Like, that shit is just me having fun with this shit.
Mhm.
Like, if you reading into it and trying to think, oh, is he that type of person? No. The shit was just funny. You know what I mean? That shit was hilarious. The shit was hilarious even. You know what I mean? And I think the problem with social media is people try to they just give it too much, man. Like, go touch some grass, dog. Go touch some grass, man.
Let me rein it in here and be the voice of empathy here.
Go ahead.
I don't think it's a coincidence that, like, especially considering the society in which we live in, that this serves as an outlet for people to kind of maybe not live out their true selves, but at least put up an idea or an image of the people that, like,
of who they are. Yeah.
a self-actualization of who they would want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Truthfully,
say that too.
Truthfully speaking, we're all hurting.
Mhm.
People are hurting. United in grief is one way to look at it.
Oh man. This man had to bring Kendrick Lamar album into this shit.
But in a sense, it is true. Like,
it's real shit.
It is, and when you look at, like, like, what exactly it is that brings about that kind of hurt. So it's like when you look at social media and the activities that persist all along the online space, it's easy for us to kind of look at it from our perspective and just, like, criticize and, like, have our own commentary about the culture that's kind of, like, fostered itself in the online world. But I always want to be the one to kind of look deeper into that. Well, why is that? At least from an individual perspective. Okay, what is it that all of us are going through? What is it that we're experiencing out there in our culture, in our society, that makes this, the go-to outlet? What is the cause of that hurt, that pain, that enables us to be the trolls online to want to hurt other people?
Mhm.
What is it that enables us to want to, like, choose these spaces to be the vessels for us to create community versus creating community in our own space? I mean, that along with, like, my time away from social media, along with, like, a book that I've read and things that I've done in the past, inspired me to want to create community in person. And, like, because I find that I have much more fruitful conversations when I'm talking to you guys, like I am now, or when we're together and so on. Like, the laughs are much more genuine. Everything is much more, it feels a lot more real. But I'm speaking from a position of privilege because I have that community.
Mhm.
I'm curious as to, like, what you guys potentially think, what is it that do you think people are missing in their daily lives that gives them that sort of fulfillment, that they don't even need to go to something like social media to make them, project to the world that I'm a good person. I don't have to project to the world that I'm a good person because I have everybody else in my community know the kind of person that I am. Why is it that it's important to stand up for racism in a space that really you don't necessarily know whether or not that's even having any sort of material effect on the real world versus having some sort of integrity when nobody else is watching,
Right.
So I want to flip it back to Vitani. Do you have any, like, ideas in regards to what is it that people do you think are experiencing? Like, we're just speculating over here. Like, what do you think, are issues that we as a culture and society are facing that enables us to be this way?
Honestly, I literally just had this conversation at work with a coworker that we have another coworker who's doing stuff that pertains to this conversation. I think it's a lack of self-love. I think it's media. I think it's like, I don't have any personal social medias. I never had personal social medias. Like, I still am trying to figure out TikTok. I got like 2 videos and I don't even know how I got there. So
And he really is a grandma.
yeah, see, Look, it took me almost half the year to learn how to use Instagram. I was like I still ask Inferno how to do stuff. I'm like, Inferno, how'd you do this?
God damn.
Yeah, I'm confused, but I'm figuring it out. But I think it's media, and I think it's books. I think it's you're in love with what you're seeing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
for example, let's say you go to high school, but you didn't get to live out that high school dream that you saw on TV or in a book you
Yeah.
read or television,
Talk to him.
you know? Let's say, like, okay, for example, this coworker, she dropped out, but she's still doing high school stuff. And everyone's angry at her. I'm like, I'm not mad. She didn't get to enjoy high school. Like she didn't even get to 10th grade. Like she started in the beginning of ninth and she didn't get to enjoy the bad boy. Now all of a sudden she is obsessed with bad boys. She didn't get to enjoy the the fallout friends and the friends that are there, the good guy, the nerdy guy. You gotta I would say taste. Don't do that. You gotta dabble in
Okay.
all of it.
Vitani, can you stop for a second? When you said Bad Boys, I
Mhm.
literally thought the record company, and I thought, damn, this nigga ain't heard B.I.G.
What?
My bad. My bad. That was, I don't know. I was
Oh
like,
my
damn, she
gosh.
ain't hear No Way Out? What the fuck?
I knew exactly what
Oh
she was talking about. How
my
the hell
gosh.
did you what?
I don't know, okay? I guess I'm still in music podcast brain. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Oh my gosh. But yeah, like she didn't get to enjoy those things. The sneaking out, let your parents not know. You gotta experience that to appreciate it and understand the younger generation that's doing it or think they're doing something different. She's still stuck in that mindset. And I feel that's what social media is. I feel like everyone's living out that dream that they don't get to live in real life. Like role playing, like the GTA role play servers or oh, this is gonna bite me in the ass. Red Redemption, am I right? Is that the game?
Oh, close.
Damn.
Close.
Okay, cool. That game, they have the role play servers and everyone's being something they're not, but you have to come up with that creative idea, meaning you want it to be that person in some format or have some type of how it works, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's what people are doing when they pretend to be something they're not, or when they're obsessive over celebrities. Like everyone has an opinion. People talk about Jesus Christ, like they're gonna keep talking. It's just why do you have to put it out there in such a negative way? You can handle it
Mhm.
and say it in a better light. Like I have opinions over that slap about Will Smith. I have a lot of opinions on that. But again, I'm not gonna go on his Twitter and just bash him about it. What I'm gonna do is if I had to say something, "Are you okay? Was that
Mhm.
did that help? Did that fix whatever you were going through?" Instead of just painfully pointing fingers, open up your whole hand and be like, "Hey, do you need help?" And I feel like a lot of people don't do that. They're just immediately ready to either attack because 'cause they're afraid in real life. They won't do nothing in real life. They can't what was it used to call back in the day? Uh, keyboard something,
Keyboard
fighting.
warrior.
There
Keyboard
you
warrior.
go.
Old school.
Damn, I'm old really
Gotta
and
be.
soul. But yeah, so that right there is they feel like they're empowered. You can't find me. Now, if you notice, not a lot of people do that because VPN. Not a lot of people do that anymore. They're like, "What? That wasn't a thing back then." You better get that whatever they got going on. I can't really say it because I'm not sponsored by them, but like
Mhm.
you gotta protect yourself. And now they're afraid, but then some people they're not afraid. I feel like they're hurting. There's no self-love, and they didn't get to enjoy the life that they're living. But you can always start somewhere. 30 years old, you can go to college and live that college dream. You can 40 years old, you can still try out those relationships that you feel like you never got to experience. 50 years old, you can still buy a motorcycle, go out there and do it. 70 years old, you can break out the old folks home. You can there's still things you can do. So you don't have to, you know, be angry or sad or reminisce or, feel like you're not doing enough. There's always something you can do. It's always your moment. You just got to either go for it because you can't just sit there and wait for it. There's no way you're going to wait for anything. If you wait for that fun that you're pretending to have online, you're not going to have it.
Facts.
Yeah.
I'll transition from that a little bit. Well, more so not necessarily transition, but more so piggyback on what you were saying. But before I do that, what's it, Derek? You need to get sponsors so we can do random ad reads in the middle of all this type of stuff. That'd be kind of lit. So we can also get a cut of that too as well.
Yo, Guinness, holla at me, nigga.
Just saying, I am sponsored by something and I can't even do nothing about it.
Casper Mattress, hit
Shout out
a
to
nigga
Guinness,
up.
man.
Shout out to HelloFresh, my nigga. What you mean?
Oh yeah,
Drink
hey,
Guinness
look, I
beer,
just got
man.
that too.
Word, how's that HelloFresh meal looking for you?
I haven't even got a chance to put it up yet. I'm still, again, I'm Inferno. I'm gonna need you after this because I need help setting that up on my stream.
Oh shit. You did the what is that? What is that shit called?
The HelloFresh sponsorship. Yep. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Shout outs to them. Hey.
Yeah, I did that shit too, but I never. I think I got it up on my Twitch, but ain't nobody buy me nothing to eat, man.
This nigga got promo codes.
I just want some Chick-fil-A, man. Like, hit me up with some Chick-fil-A, dog.
The Stream Eats thing. I got so
That's
much.
what I got. I got Streamer Eats before.
Really? I'll get you something. I'll put that up there for you.
Damn, I'm getting some free Chick-fil-A. Let's go.
Okay. Back to our program. What's it? I want to pick it back on what Vitani was saying, but also kind of add in that I think social media. This is the attention economy. That's pretty much, you can distill 99. I'm taking this from somebody else. Don't credit me with this saying, but you can distill about 99.9% of anything that anyone posts on social media to just, hey, look at me. And
that's fair.
We're at not necessarily we're at a point, but everybody wants to feel like they've contributed something. Everybody wants to feel as though that they have a voice. Everybody wants to feel like, when they post something, the spotlight is on them and they have a chance to make a difference in the world. I think it, touches on maybe fundamental things that we all want to aspire to be in this life that we live now. There's so much talk about purpose and meaning, and, many of us, especially considering the economy the way it is right now, many of us live lives that we don't necessarily feel fulfilled in. Can't speak, for, how you guys feel or anything like that. I feel great in the space that I'm in. I have the benefit of, going to school, getting my degree, coming out, getting a job, and feeling as though that all of this was worth it. And I'm doing something that I want to do, or at least going towards something that I want to do. But for many people, they've experienced their own difficulties and such, but so they want to, at least if it's not going to come to them in a professional aspect, they don't have the privilege of having a passion that they have that they can turn into a career. Sometimes it's just about getting money, survive,
right?
And still but still wants to feel some sort of fulfillment and purpose and meaning in the world. And they have their own ideals. And, and I think I was talking to you about this, Byrd, about how we have a tendency to want to create narratives and, villains in the world because it gives us this idea that, we're working towards a greater cause.
Yeah.
So something like, the things that we stand up for on social media, we, at least in our heads, think of it as, this is my contribution to the world. This is my moment where I can be somebody of importance. Because I think deep down, we want to feel important, not only important to, our family and friends, but to our communities. We want to feel as though that we're making a difference. Everybody has this idea, we idealize the notion of being able to make a difference in the world. And so much of that is centered around the big things, innovations, truths and big knowledge and so on. But rather, instead of, I've made somebody in my community, in my friend circle, I made their day better. I gave them advice that encouraged them to want to pursue something that they never once wanted to try. I think much more emphasis in regards to how we interact with each other. I think there needs to be a larger emphasis about how our minor interactions, the micro interactions that we have on a day-to-day basis, make those small, on aggregate, large changes in the world that we live in. It allows us to, it allows us to understand that, like, okay, maybe my purpose in this world isn't going to be like, I'm not going to be the next Isaac Newton or Galileo. People aren't going to write about me in the history books.
Mm-hmm.
But I made the difference in the life of somebody that matters to me. And that person in and of themselves may go on to do something great. I am but a chapter or a notch in the great book of humanity somewhere along the line. And sure, they might not write about you somewhere along the line, but at the end of the day, who cares? Not because that's just, not everybody is going to be, the next friggin' Kanye West or something like that, or the next great inventor or something like that. Importance is completely and totally relative. So do we really, a lot of this is, putting emphasis on feeling important to in the eyes of strangers. Where are our values at when it comes to wanting to feel important amongst those who do matter and prioritizing that? And that's possibly because, again, this all comes full circle. We're hurting because we don't have those communities in front of us. Many of us don't have people that we can turn to or, talk to when we're feeling like, down, or feel it, or have the benefit of having somebody that you can be vulnerable with.
Mm-hmm.
I think there was a period where we talked about how there are people on our social media who we see overemphasize the importance of being in a relationship because they see it all on social media because it's highly glorified. And in reality, it's like, dog, you don't want these kinds of problems. Like, on its best day, a relationship is fantastic, but on the worst day, it can do the absolute worst to you and just drag you down into a bad mental space.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
But I can't fault that, similarly to what Vitani was saying, I can't fault that for somebody who hasn't experienced that. They have to go through those growing pains to understand what it means to be in a relationship. And then on top of that, adjust their behavior based upon that new knowledge. Bottom line is, I think everybody's hurting in their own way and wants to feel important, wants to feel valued, wants to have community. I think I've had conversations with people even in like over a year ago. We were up until like 3:00 in the morning, and like I'm recognizing that all of us want the same things. We just differ in the means to obtain those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we all have our own relative experiences that, alter our dimensions of reality in regards to, the value that we put on these things and how we're able to, obtain these sorts of things. But truthfully speaking, there is no universality in of it. That's just culture for you. Like, it's just kind of it's basically getting around, the cultural differences in order for us to kind of recognize some sort of common goal in obtaining things like, community, friends, love, fulfillment, passion, things of that nature. You always want to look, at least when you're evaluating the perspective of those that maybe you disagree with or something like that, what is that void in their life that they're trying to fill? Something to think about.
Oh yeah. Hell yeah.
Can I bring up the next topic?
Go right ahead.
Something to talk about. Since like kind of piggybacking off of what you was going over, Warren, we kind of talked about this when I came to visit and all that. But one of the true real keys, like when it comes to mental health, you know what I'm saying? Something that's always gonna get somebody like doing a lot of self-reflection, or you know what I'm saying, trying to improve. Childhood trauma, and also expectations, like age stamps, like for instance, relationships, you know what I'm saying? Like, for some reason, it's almost like expected, you know what I'm saying? We grow up, Go to high school, we find a girlfriend. Maybe the first couple don't work out. We get in our 20s. It's normal now to have kids outside of marriage. So you probably have a couple kids, probably got 2 kids by 26. Then by 30 years old, you're supposed to have it all worked out. That shit ain't
It's not the same no
it's
more.
not real. Yeah, it's not real life. That's not everybody. You know what I'm saying? I hear a lot of people
That shit ain't
nowadays.
even realistic nowadays.
Exactly, it's not. It's not at all. But like, 'cause we all the same age here. We 28, 29. And when I talk to other friends, like everybody, they kind of got like a 30, like the big 30, like hanging over their head, like, oh, you married with kids yet? No. Like, put it this way, I got 8 siblings in total. I'm the only one out of all of them without a kid. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean that I'm doing something wrong, but just because of how like expectations go, everybody like, when you having a kid, when you having a kid, and I'm just like, bruh, I'm getting my stuff together the way that I want to get it together. You know what I'm saying? When the right one come, they gonna come, and then I'm gonna have it. You know, I see a whole lot of other people with like really sweating it. You know, like thinking they gotta have it all together by 25, and that's just not right.
Mhm.
You know, and then like when you think down to childhood trauma, there's a lot of people whose parents, you know, like they forcefully did it because of those expectations. They got married to the wrong ones. And then you got people with moms and dads always fighting, always hitting each other and stuff like that. And then kids grow up thinking that that's normal, you know? Childhood trauma, that can also be something like you growing up and your parents is racist. Like I feel like it's crazy, you know, like if it's most of the time when it's like people who say shit that we don't agree with when they speaking on racial subjects, that's people coming from people who were raised by a family who were racist. You know what I'm saying? Back in their
Yeah.
time, you know, and then they growing up and they're in our generation, and then like it's obvious that they stand out, and it's like fucked up that they fucked up because their parents was fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Or for instance, like me, y'all know my family history and all that. Like the crack epidemic played a big part in my family. You know what I'm saying? Like childhood trauma, all types of things trickling down. It could be financial, it could be substance abuse, all types of things. You know what I'm saying? So, like for y'all, what's a key point where y'all realize like y'all had to either combat childhood trauma or combat like the age stamp? Warren, you can go first, bro.
Thinking out loud here, but an age where I felt as though it was time for me to kind of, well, I think back to like the 2014 trip that my folks, when we went to Jamaica. It was like the first time I had went back there since I was a kid, when I was like 8. And I think it was like riding down the street, and it kind of like I use that as like the watershed moment where I, became firm in understanding my cultural identity as an American.
Mm-hmm.
In that, don't get me wrong, I'm proud of my Jamaican heritage and ancestry and whatnot, but also recognizing that my cultural roots are primarily based over here in the States.
Right.
In that there are cultural elements about my heritage that some that I am deeply, deeply proud of and would want to continue to pass on to further generations and, incorporate into my own life, the music, the food, the audacity of Jamaicans to wanting to like freaking bobsled in the Winter Olympics. That don't make no goddamn sense. But the other elements like the over religiosity, the homophobia, the things like that nature where I'm just like, yeah, it's just the difference in culture in regards to like, I'm not that, and there are elements that like from my my own familial background and everything like that still harbor elements of those culture, and it's just like those are just the parts that I choose to not want to continue on. Those are, and I wouldn't necessarily categorize them as traumas or anything like that, but it's cyclical because I can see things like that impacting like my brothers and so on, and them wanting to do stuff that way, and I'm me wanting to be not necessarily a black sheep, but the one that just wants to do things differently. wanting to be the one that looks at these sorts of things, being able to evaluate them and recognize that I'm not going to be held to that standard anymore. And I think that was the catalyst for me to kind of like that, along with like college education, I would imagine, giving me the permission, I would say, to challenge cultural norms. Cultural norms, not only in one's own family, but like the way we kind of perceive things like marriage, the way we kind of perceive things like child rearing and whatnot. Like you kind of have to stop and ask yourself, well, why is it that case? Why do we do these sorts of things? And a lot of times the answer is because, well, it's tradition, or because that's the way they're doing it, therefore we should be the ones doing it. And to bring it back to like social media and everything, we do constantly do social comparisons where we see many people whom we've graduated with, and they're at the point in time where some of them are getting married, some of them are going on and getting advanced degrees, some of them are going on and having children, and we take what's going on in their lives. You can go as far as like some of them are taking lavish vacations, what almost seems like every other week. And we're taking what they're experiencing, the persona that they're putting out there, and comparing that to our current state of things, and thinking to ourselves, we are in a similar context. We grew up around the same way. How come I'm not in that particular position? So I guess my, personal experience is both, taking a quote unquote vacation to Jamaica, as well as like, having the college education that, enriched me with being able to challenge societal norms, has been that breaking point that allowed me to kind of look at things and say to myself, I don't have to put myself in a box like that. I should not have to relegate myself to the standards of what other people dictate for me. Anybody else? How would you? Would you say you had experienced anything similar to that, like that, Derek?
With what?
If you had trying to combat childhood trauma, or basically an age thing.
Childhood trauma, yeah. I would say I got a lot of childhood trauma, but a lot of that really doesn't affect me now. It hasn't affected me for a long time now, quite a long time now. But as far as the other thing, nah, not really. Like nobody really pushes any standards on me. Like you got to be married at this age. You got to do this at that age. Like, nah, I just kind of do my own motherfucking thing. And just I've always been a kind of like a family orientated dude, so I was always kind of trying to make my own family and stuff like that. But nah, not at all. Not at all. Childhood trauma, like, damn, that's a tough one, because I really could say the only childhood trauma I have is maybe like alcohol abuse. Kind of runs in my family a little bit. And as most of y'all know, I watch my streams or anything in general. Your boy can drink. Your boy can put it down.
We got stories, nigga.
Yeah, we got. Listen, we got stories, dog. We got stories. Your boy.
Lest we forget about that time we tried to tranquilize this nigga at freaking Byrd's house.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
That was not fun.
I'm not drinking that shit.
That is not fun. That was not fun, man.
These motherfuckers try to give me a antidote. I was like, bitch, nah. I was like, nah. What? Niggas try to hit me with a mega potion. I was like, Nizzle. Like, Nizzle.
Mind you, context is important, okay? We were all underage, and this nigga's making all the loudest noise out of everybody here. We don't want to bring no attention to this fucking impromptu party that we've had, so we don't, just so niggas don't get booked for underage drinking. But nah, here comes this motherfucker.
And their biggest hell was almost like bringing down the elephant. Nigga, fee, 5, 4 foaming all over my crib.
Facts. But, yeah, nah, like, I would say drinking is probably the biggest one in my life. I mean, I tell a lot of people that like drinking is a thing.
You certainly had your ups and downs when it comes to it. Speaking as
when
a
it comes
friend.
to drinking, hell yeah. And it's good to say, even though I was drinking right before this podcast, I was streaming and shit over there at twitch.tv/BlazeXinferno, shameless plug. But I think my drinking is on a whole totally different level now.
You've certainly gotten a lot better, for sure. I don't know if you just encased your liver in iron or something like that.
Probably so, but I'm gonna be a little transparent with this episode. I said this to myself going in, like, I know that this type of conversation is gonna open up some doors, but back in the day, I keep it real with you guys. When I was younger, I had a big drinking problem. And as I got older, I've just kind of learned to understand it, and get better with it. I at a point in my life, I'm not ashamed to say, I'm gonna keep it real with y'all, man. There's a point in my life where Byrd and Warren both know I was drinking damn near every day. You know what I mean? For no reason, just because, it was a feel good. And now in my life, it's more of so when people ask me, damn, why you drink so much? It's like, I'm gonna keep it real with you. We out here turning up, we celebrating life, dog. Like, we literally celebrating the fact that niggas is out here really doing the damn thing. Like, I'm not endangering anybody's life. I'm not doing anything crazy. I'm just enjoying myself in the comfort of my home, and just having a good time with friends. Plus, it generally just takes a lot for me to get fucking lit any goddamn way. But if we want to talk about childhood trauma, I would probably say, alcohol abuse is one thing that runs in my family. And I wouldn't say that I beat it. It's weird. It's just one of those things I just kind of understand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, save it for those times when it matters, man. Like, there ain't no reason to be drinking fucking 7 o'clock in the morning, man. You know what I mean? There's no reason. No reason for that. I mean, unless you had a party and it's 7 o'clock in the morning, that's different. But, you just getting off of work. I work overnight and shit. There's no reason for that type of shit, at least for me. So, I try to keep my shit very minimal and very just, socialized. You know what I mean? When I drink on stream, I even had to think about it myself when I was drinking on stream one day. Like, damn, do I allow streaming to enable my drinking? You know what I mean? Do I let it enable the drinking? I was like, I don't really sit back and think about that, like maybe like a week or two ago. Like, damn, I'm getting fucked up. And, the way in my mind thinks is like, it's a channel point. I got to do it. Motherfuckers tell me take a shot. But then I really had to think about it. I was like, holy shit. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe I do kind of enable it myself. So I had to kind of turn it down. I had to, bring them channel points up a little bit for y'all. You know what I mean? Make them a little bit more pricier, change the timers on them, and just kind of go with the flow. Like, yesterday, Friday Night Fight is a big event for me, streaming wise. When I stream on Fridays, I usually get pretty lit. We get pretty lit. We turn it up. I turn it up with the community. Take a couple shots with my chat and stuff like that. Yesterday I kept it mad vanilla. Look, I'm having like 2-3 beers. That's it. All I want. That's all I want. Like, fuck what y'all want. This is what I want. And I think a lot of times, with my drinking or my partying, like, I'm gonna keep it real with you. A lot of times my drinking or my party has been enabled by other people. You know what I mean? Being able to dictate that. Come on, D, you gotta be lit. You gotta be this, you gotta be that. But what if I don't want to be that way? You know what I mean? And I'm gonna keep it real with you. A lot of times I don't want to be fucked up. I just want to chill out, enjoy myself. You know what I mean? But there's a lot of times.
Sometimes I just want some tea, nigga.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm being real transparent with y'all on stream because, or not on stream, on a podcast because, I know there's a lot of people in my chat and that listen to this podcast that can relate. Like, I'm not big on like what's the word? Peer pressure. I'm not big on that shit. Like, it takes a lot to pressure me to do shit. But at the same time, when I feel like I have to fulfill a role, when I feel like I have to be, lick God, or I got to be the life of the party, it changes the dynamic of what I want. I mean, it's just, I tell people all the time, I can be lit without drinking. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can party without drinking. You know what I mean? I can be more lit than you without even taking a sip of alcohol. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because that's just my personality. Like, I'm a super open, energetic vibe of a person without it. You know what I mean? And I'm in no way, trying to say that I'm above, alcohol abuse or alcoholism or anything like that. I struggle with it at times, but it's one of those things that I've gotten a lot more better with, instead of comfortable with, because that's how I used to be. I was more comfortable with it than, anything else. So, yeah, I say like childhood trauma, like as far as it comes, it's probably like alcohol, yeah, that's about it.
How often would you say you have those like self-talks about like, your habits?
At least once a week. I gotta check in with myself. I gotta check in and make sure like I'm good. I gotta make sure that I'm doing what I want to do. You know what I mean? And that nobody's enabling or I'm enabling, bad habits. You know what I mean? And like I said, I know Vitani picked up on it real fast. Like when we first started streaming, we first started, playing games together. She was one of the first people to bring it to my attention. Like, yo, you get pretty fucked up on stream. Like you drink a lot. And I had to kind of check myself right there, like, holy shit, like, am I letting like the streaming enable the drinking and just being like, oh no, I gotta do this because I'm streaming. And I had to check myself and be like, yeah, maybe a little bit. So I turned it down a lot. And ever since then, I just, I do what I'm comfortable with.
Things are better in moderation. It seems like you're in a space right now where you have it managed and it's under control.
Yeah, hell yeah. And like I understand moderation. Like I'm not, I follow a lot of sober living and shit like that because I feel for that type of shit. You know what I mean? Like that shit touches me on a whole different level. Like somebody who just literally like, I shared this shit on my Instagram story today, where, we live in Philadelphia. You got Kensington, Philadelphia, which is fucked up. You know what I mean? Run rampant with drugs and alcohol abuse and people who literally just cannot get off of that shit, dog. Like it's become to a point where it's not just an addiction. It is literally like your body is craving that shit, and
That's
they're
what all
literally
addiction is.
literally ruining their life over that shit. And when you look at that every day, it's just like, God damn, man, you know, it's eye opening. And yeah, like I'm not one of those people that I feel like I have to sit here and I have to be like, all right, let me go to like an AA class or let me do this or let me do 30 days sober or 60 days sober. It's like, nah, just understand I gotta do everything with moderation and control and understanding and stuff like that. That's it, man. Far from addicted to the shit. You know what I mean? If you would have hit me up about 5 years ago, I probably would have told you, yeah, I'm addicted. But nowadays, it's like, motherfucker tell me, yo, come out, let's drink, let's party. Now, I ain't feeling that right now. You know what I mean? I'll call out of work. We got a bottle. We got this going on. Nah, I'm cool. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's growth, my nigga. That is growth.
Real talk.
Yeah. And like I said, I can be open like this on the podcast because again, I want to create this space on and off stream where people can feel comfortable talking about these things. I feel like people are ashamed of addiction, dog. Addiction can be anything. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. There's people that are addicted to sex, reading books, fucking eating food. Yeah, I mean, like we put this negative stigma on addiction. Like addiction can't be anything. Right. You know what I mean, people can be addicted to their fucking car, driving their car. You know, all types of shit. Like, stop putting a negative outlook on addiction. Like, addiction can be literally anything. You know what I mean? You're addicted to drinking coffee every morning. You're addicted to, you know, making sure you get your car cleaned every Saturday morning. And if you don't, it upsets you. Like, these are just addictions and they're normal if you can get to understand them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let's plug the KOD album. Go ahead.
Let's go. Let's go. I'm about to drop. I'm about to drop my motherfucking KOD album. You know what I mean? No, but that's real shit. Like, I feel like people put this negative stigma on addiction. Like, oh man, I can't be addicted to this. Like, when I realized that I was addicted to alcohol, that was the best thing that happened to me. Because it was like, oh shit, I don't want to be. So then you get in that mind space of thinking, okay, how do I stop this? You know what I mean? When you accept things, you just gradually get to understand it. You know what I mean?
I like that you mentioned that because similarly enough, you know, the best thing for me was also acknowledging that I was going through something that I wasn't okay. And that gave me the initiative to want to do something about it. I think for a lot of people in these particular instances, the best thing you can do for yourself is being honest with yourself and acknowledging that you're hurting. If there is a pain that you're experiencing, that you're utilizing something to kind of fill that void, the first thing that we can do for ourselves is acknowledging that there is hurt there. There's a pain that we're trying to mask. And then uncovering what that pain is, and then taking the necessary steps both within ourselves and in our communities to make the steps towards addressing what ails us.
Facts. Big facts. And that's literally all it's about, man. That's all it's about.
Yeah. Tani, you still there?
Yes, sir.
So what would you say about if you had to combat any childhood trauma or had to go against an age stamp?
Childhood trauma for me and how to combat it. I guess you could say my childhood trauma was very hard spot. I didn't realize I had childhood trauma until well, with one parent, I knew on the jump. The jump, I was like, okay, she's gaslighting, she's narcissistic, she's literally pushing everything I'm saying and doing back onto me. Like I could tell her, you just kirked out, and then she would be like, I wouldn't have kirked out if you done this and so forth. Immediately, I was like, but you just told me not to do that, you know? She couldn't take accountability. Still, immediately I knew. I was like, my mom can't do it. With my dad, he's my best friend. Like he is the greatest man in the world. He put a high expectation and bar for every man that comes into my life. But then I realized that childhood trauma because Infernal knows my dad passed February 21st of this year due to COVID.
Condolences.
Thank you. His last words to me were take care of my sister. At that moment I was like, damn. He's always had this expectation of me to take care of my sister, to do the best I can, to be better than what I am, to and it's not trauma, but it's trauma, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because I immediately am like, in my mind, take care of my sister for the rest of my life, no matter what. I just gotta do it. Like, it's literally like he triggered that. And then on top of that, I wanted to do it, but that was like extremely like, there's no going back from this. If a man can't accept me and my sister, then they can't take me. That's kind of like where my mind's at this point. And it's really bad, I know, but it's like, that's how I am. Then with that, he allowed me to do whatever I want as a child, experience it. When I mess up, did you learn your lesson? Did you learn everything that you needed to do? You have to experience to learn it. That's what he always told me. Where my mom was, it's because I said so, you know? And he didn't believe in like whippings or none of that. No punishments from him. It's just I have to punish myself if I did something wrong. Like it's an experience, whether it's good or bad. If it's bad, I learned my lesson. I was punished because I had a bad experience, so on and so forth. We also hide all of the trauma we all experience in my family. My dad doesn't talk about anything he's going through. He's a positive man that is all about just getting shit done, and like off the rip. Where my mom, she is very codependent on my dad, and now she's codependent on me. She's very just codependent and doesn't acknowledge her stuff. So my stuff is more psychological abuse, which are trauma in a sense, you know?
Oh, it is. Let's not invalidate any different types of traumas, of course.
Yeah. So I personally, what I do is, again, when I feel like I can't handle the pressure everyone put on me, I had to take a step back. It actually took my niece playing a movie for me called Encanto. And, and that song Surface Pressure played. I was like, oh my gosh, this is how I've been feeling. Because I have 2 older brothers and I have 1 younger sister. But everyone relies on me. Can I use your car? Can I crash on your couch? Can I borrow 50? Can you take me here? Can you help me cook dinner? Can you bring me dinner? Can you DoorDash? It's just always needing me for something, even if it's like minor. The minorest things like, can you help me sign up for college?
Right.
Huh? So all of that is just, and that goes back to self-care. I want to help. I'm a fixer at heart. I want to give everyone all of me. But when I need that moment for myself, I literally have to isolate myself. Like even for the funeral, I couldn't even have moments to grieve, which I was grateful for Inferno because Inferno basically told me, he says, you need that moment. Still haven't had it because I'm too busy with work, too busy with stream, too busy with family, too busy with friends, too busy with, and I don't think I need it yet. I will have it. I feel like I'm gonna have it whenever I'm ready to have it. I just haven't had time nor that need to have that moment yet. So childhood trauma, I feel everyone goes through it. You might
Right.
not see it. It's invisible sometimes. Sometimes it's it takes that last moment for you to realize, damn, this is kind of traumatic. Not take care of yourself, but take care of your sister.
Right.
So with that, it can be, you have to just look at it. How's it affecting you? Is that to you? Is it hurting you in some way? If so, that could be trauma. That could be something that you never looked at as trauma before. And you have to take that moment. Um, age stamp, okay. That's kind of hard because in the beginning, yes. But my brother got like 9 kids, so I feel like my mama good now, like I feel like she all right. I mean,
Yeah.
she'll ask me, when am I getting married? When am I having kids? I'm always playing video games. I'll never find a man for playing video games. No man wants a girl who makes this kind of money. No one wants a girl that's like always gone to be on TV. Like they don't want that. They want a woman at home that cooks, clean, vacuum. So I do that. But I also, because she's born like 1960, so in her mind, I shouldn't be working. I shouldn't be doing half the stuff I'm doing. I should be at home, as my dad put it, like as a joke to my mom, barefoot, naked, and pregnant in the kitchen. I don't want that life. I would love to be barefoot, naked, pregnant in the kitchen, but also I'd like to have my own money. I
Right.
love to spend money. I love to travel. I love items. I'm very not materialistic. I love to give gifts. I'm a person who does just because gifts. I can't do that if I'm doing it off my man's money. That means he's buying himself something. I just picked it out.
Right.
So, yes, I think the age stamp is there, especially when I see, I'm the opposite. When you're talking about, people wondering like, why can't I travel? I'm the person who does travel. And everyone's like, how is she doing it? How are you doing this? I'm like money management. I plan this out years in advance. Like if I go somewhere this December, that means I planned it out like 2020. Like all my trips are planned out a year or two in advance. I don't just say, let me drop 5,000 real quick and head here. That right there is something's not getting paid. Whether it's like my dog not getting food or my electric
Right.
bill, cable bill, like something's going off. It's and people always ask me, "What are you doing?" It's because you have a good job. It's because you college graduate. It's because no, even if I wasn't a college graduate, you can still do it. $10 an hour can get you a flight somewhere if you budget correctly, if you plan correctly, if you go with the right people. You go someone who's broke and you gotta pay for their ticket, your ticket, and whatever they out there, that's not $10 is not gonna stretch, $22 isn't gonna stretch, You gotta make it work and budget and plan. So I am on the opposite side of that fence when people like, I'll wonder, like, "Man, how are they having so many kids and still able to enjoy their life?" Just because I haven't experienced it, like you said, like, I don't have all those kids. I have my nieces, they're like 12, 13, and like 11. So they're pretty much all really self-independent. So it's like I don't have to drag them. They forget something at home when we go traveling, then they shut a luck. They don't get to bring it, but you can't forget a bottle. You can't forget diapers or baby wipes. That stuff is needed. I mean, now you're spending money in a different country or a different area where that money could have been used for frivolous stuff. So yeah, I think the age stamp is on me. The pressure's there, but not there. I think my mom wants me to get married, for sure. She wants me to find that man that's gonna take care of me and things like that, but then me seeing how she is with the loss of my dad and how she's struggling a bit also puts a big scare on me. I don't wanna be codependent on anybody, I've never been that way, and I don't want a man codependent on me, 'cause I don't need someone to match my pay. I don't need
Right.
someone who match my education. I need someone to be there in that moment, to experience life with me, to enjoy life with me,
Yes, man.
compliment me, you know? Don't possess me unless it's in the right way. No, I'm kidding. But but be there,
Somebody
And
call me.
oh my god. Of course. But yeah, like if I'm playing a video game and you want in, grab a game. Like, let's do it. Let's play a game. If you're playing a video game and you don't want to be bothered, all right, I'm going into the room to play my video games. Well, I'll see you in 3 hours. Like I'm pretty laid back with stuff like this. But I can see why my mom and my siblings and my family members look at me and like, that's weird. You and your, my boyfriend at the time are in separate rooms for like 5 hours. Are y'all fighting? No, he's playing fucking 2K. I don't play any basketball game like that. I'm playing Mortal Kombat. I don't, if he wants that work, he can come in here. It's up to him. But yeah, a lot of times, because also I can feel it. I can feel it on myself when I'm playing video games and I get off. I'm like, damn, is this okay? Like, is this all right for me to be sitting here almost 30, 0 kids, no relationship, playing video games? Should I go out? Should I go to the club? I'm not really a club person. Should I go to the lounge? Not really. Should I go to a library? That might not be where I should be at 28 years old. Where should I be in life right now? I can travel all day, but this is just, am I going to be that aunt that travels but has no kids? Is that what I want for myself? No, I want kids. I just don't know when I want kids, and I don't know with who I want kids.
Right.
So that's I can feel it on myself more than anything else. Is when I'm on that plane, I'm flying somewhere, I'm sitting there like, damn, I should be excited, but instead I feel like I'm grieving for myself a little bit, like I'm missing opportunities in time, and I'm behind on something else. Like I'm going forward with the traveling and having fun aspect, but everything else I'm missing out on, where I'm supposed to be having these kids, this family, this child should be crying on the plane next to me, and I'm supposed to be stressed out. But then I get there, I'm like, okay, pour me a bottle of wine, we're good to go. It's just like that brief moment. It comes and goes. Mm.
I want to ask everyone, what exactly do each of us fear?
Oh God.
You
Like,
got something to say there, Vitani?
okay. So I have a lot of fears. Unrealistic fears. A zombie apocalypse. I am terrified of zombies. Second fear, I'm afraid of the ocean because I can't swim and I don't like the unknown. Now, psychological fears
Shaking my
is,
head at that one, though, man. We all got to know how to swim. It's a life skill, brother.
oh no,
That's
I
all,
can't
bro.
at all.
Everybody can't swim, man.
I can
Nigga,
doggy
you in
paddle.
the Air Force. I don't understand how they ain't making your ass learn how to swim.
Nigga, what did you just say? The Air Force, right?
Bruh, I don't care, okay? Your plane can crash at any given goddamn
I'm
moment. You gotta better
dying.
learn how to goddamn
I'm
swim.
dying. I'm dying.
Oh my gosh. I can doggy paddle. I mean, for like 10
Word.
seconds, and then it's a wrap at that point.
Oh, niggas is.
It's a
I
long,
can,
like,
I can
You know what?
move.
You know what? That's it. Yeah, I'm not even
I
gonna
can
say
move
it.
in
Okay,
water, but I
y'all.
can't float. I can't float,
10
bro.
seconds. If you can't get me in 10 seconds, it's over for me.
Oh, niggas.
But psychological fears. My dad was born early 1950s. I'm worried about having kids in my 40s, like he did with me, where he kept telling me, I might not see you graduate. That was very much in my head. So, and not only that, my mom and dad got married. My whole family actually got married at an early age. A lot of them married their high school sweethearts, including my cousin. So it's like watching that, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, in high school, I thought I was searching for a husband the whole time. I was trying it all out. So, okay, bad boy, not really husband material, got that out of the way. Nerd, okay, this is kind of my speed, not really. Like I thought that was what I was supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess my fear is not meeting up to my family's expectations. Like if they see me crumble, if they see me falter, they see me like cracking at any point, that is my biggest fear besides zombies. Like I'd rather see me crumble than see a zombie in front of me because then it's a wrap. But
Mm-hmm.
them actually seeing me at my weakest moments, I think that besides me saying something I don't mean, well, I'm saying something out of pocket to them, but also them seeing me not the person they imagine me to be scares me more than anything. And that's why I isolate myself also. Like, if I'm weak at any moment or I don't have the answer and I can't get the answer, that is my biggest fear. Like, I cannot allow anyone to see that. Friends, family, exes, boyfriends, just no. Like, even me opening up like this is a bit too much for me to say. Like, seeing them, because they might listen to it, I don't know. And they're like, "Oh, wow, Vitani's afraid of us seeing her weak. Does that mean she has weak moments?" And that to me is like, that's just like, no. If they were to ask me the answer, that would be like the biggest no to them. Like, no. Me? No way. And then when I get home, just like, oh, I dodged a bullet there.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of pressure right there. And it's like we all human, you know what I'm saying? We all have moments of weakness. That's something. And also like those things being like put on you like that could like make a lot of guilt, you know what I'm saying? And
Mm,
to a degree it could be unnecessary guilt. Like it's not fair for certain things. Like I identify with everything what you were saying a lot. Like me, like growing, I have a bunch of siblings, but growing up it was just me, my mom, and my little sister. And like my mom and my dad wasn't together. My dad died when I was 7 years old. Mom and my little sister's dad, they wasn't together for real. And I was told at a very young age, I'm the man of the house. My mom told me she can't teach me how to be a man. Um, like because like I was raised by mostly women and stuff like that. My mom went ahead, she like questioned if I was probably gay or something like that. It's like, no, you know what I'm saying? I'm just not gonna like I'm being raised by you, my mom, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
I turned myself into who I am as far as being a man is. And I think I did a pretty good job. But the the unnecessary like expectations, like me working, like my mom, she used to be the hardest working woman that I knew. But as she got older and like certain things started happening, she started like looking towards me. And my little sister is pretty difficult. Warren and Derek know. And I just felt like everything was always on me. I was always the one that has to be working 3 jobs at a time. You know what I'm saying? I always have to be the one to have this answer. I'm the one that always has to look up stuff. I'm the one that's supposed to have all of the friends that can do stuff. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah.
like it's just not fair. Even now that I'm going, that was part of me leaving for the military too. I had to get away from my mom and my sister because I felt like they would suck the life out of me if I didn't. You know,
Yeah.
they respect me for it. They understand that what I'm doing is important to me, and it's cool. But I do still have that guilt because of the expectations that was put on me. Like when I talk to my mom and my sister, and they not doing the best, it makes me feel guilty. Like I'm doing something wrong. Is it my fault that they can't get whatever together in the time that they need? Realistically, no. But I still feel bad about it. You know, like
Yeah.
I need to do more, and that can cause a lot of stress. Um, Sometimes I just tell myself like, well, I talk to my older brother and he doesn't have those expectations because he got 4 kids. So me not having any kids, they think, oh, Russell, how come you're not helping and this and that? And it's like, sorry, I'm trying to get myself together for me. You know what I'm saying? Lay the foundation for my family and stuff like that. I love y'all while y'all here and stuff like that, but y'all don't see my stuff. You know what I'm saying? This doesn't come easy. This is hard work.
Exactly.
It's hard work that I worked for. And it's tough. But yeah, Vitani, I identify with what you just said a lot.
Mm. Yeah, it's hard, and that right there is the guilt, like you said. If I can't come up with the money, if I can't come up with the security, or I can't come up with the answer, that guilt eats at me. Like,
Mhm.
I cannot not have the answer, and that's just my mindset at this point. It's just make it happen. That's how my dad always said, "Make it happen." And now, like, every day, it's always like that in my head.
That's tough.
What about you, Derek? Do you feel as though you have anything that in particular that you fear?
Afraid of octopuses.
Oh, yeah, we know that. Yeah. We know that.
It's the way he said it.
Love
It's the
octopuses.
way he said it.
No,
I'm
dead ass.
afraid
He is
of
straight afraid of
octopus.
octopus. It's crazy.
Like, I'm afraid of deer.
Yeah, like same way he's afraid of deer, he's afraid of octopuses for sure.
Yeah, I ain't afraid of nothing, man. I'm a real ass nigga, hard body, you know what I mean? Hard body, you know what I mean? Man, what am I afraid of, man? Yeah, that's a deep, it's a loaded question, but it's really not. I'm like everybody else. I'm just afraid of failure, man. Just afraid of failure. That's really just the bottom line, man. You know, to be more transparent in that, I'm just afraid of failure, man. Like, there's no way to really like sum it up more than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, I'm afraid to lose, man. But I've accepted that, you know, sometimes you gotta lose to win, man. Sometimes you gotta lose them small battles to win the whole war, man. That'd be the most important part. You know what I mean? And I think just for me, it's just that. I'm afraid to lose. That's why I work the way I do. That's why I grind with this content the way I do. Because I'm afraid the minute I decide, you know, I want to take a break or I want to do this, it's just over, man. Like, I done gave up. And I know that's not the case, but, you know what I mean? I think with me, as far as this shit goes, as long as I got air in my lungs, you know, I'm feeling good. You know what I mean? We can keep going. We can keep grinding out. I'm young. I'm 29 years old. I'm good. But yeah, I would just say I'm just afraid of failure. That's it. That's it. What about you, Warren? What you afraid of, man?
Well, for people in general, I know, like, I saw some common themes, things like, you know, uncertainty, vulnerability, you know, a lot of those things, you know, for me, they kind of somewhat come natural too, but I understand that for many others, you know, it's a difficult thing for them to kind of overcome because, you know, a lot can come of it. It requires a lot of trust in others to be able to be vulnerable around them because many of us are kind of negatively impacted by having that trust in other people and only for that to be used against us. So I have a lot of, like, you know, sympathy for those who, like, you know, have those types of instances. And of course, you know, the fear of uncertainty because, like, you know, we always want to know what's in store for us or, you know, what's next rather than, you know, the blind uncertainty and discomfort of not knowing. So those are just common, you know, abstractions that people can find fear in that I see on a regular basis commonly. But for me in particular, and I think I've somewhat addressed this like in therapy. Shout out to Stacy. I have a fear of being misunderstood. I have a fear of being seen as someone that's unapproachable. I've through the years built up a resentment not only for people who overuse the term empathy so flippantly without, you know, knowing about what it entails, but a resentment for people who have congratulated me on my achievements and my education without taking the time to understand the things that I had to do and the things I had to sacrifice in order for me to come into this sort of position. I don't like the idea of, you know, complimenting me on saying like, oh, you're so smart, you have a congratulations on getting your master's and things of that nature. But the moment you don't understand the habits that I had to adopt in order to become this way. One of the things that, people tend to harp on when it comes to my personality is I have a tendency to be a bit critical. It comes from, at least from my perspective, it comes from a place of care. I'm very thorough when it comes to the information that I divulge, as well as the information that I put out there. I'm big on, accuracy and detail, especially when we're talking like a broad concept and a broad sense in society. We, don't get into a space where we're in the, a post-truth era if we aren't taking into account how accurate we are when it comes to, divulging information, having a commitment towards truth.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes whenever when I'm evaluating, when people talk about things, when they talk about their opinions and things of that nature, I have a tendency to, offer a bit of pushback. And we're kind of in a space where many people just feel as though they're entitled to their opinion. And any type of pushback towards that opinion can be seen as more so disrespectful and more of a personal attack on one's own personal views and beliefs, when I don't necessarily see it that way, but I'm learning to kind of understand the perspectives of those whom I may be affecting along the way. But at the same time, I've also noticed that willingness to want to understand the perspectives of those I'm affecting is a one-way street, at least in those instances. And I've experienced times where I misunderstood and there was just no effort into wanting to understand, well, why am I this way? Why did I say the things that I say? Why, am I behaving in any particular type of way? It might not be out of character or anything like that, but it's just like understanding my perspective. I get this, I've been called closed-minded. I've been called mean. I've been called, anything you can say under the book that completely goes against the kind of character that I see myself as, all through just an unwillingness to communicate my perspective, or unwillingness to want to understand my perspective and communicate any sort of misunderstandings that may be. It seems as though I'm usually seen as I can only be looked at as in one particular dimension, rather than, okay, there may be more to this than what I may personally feel. And I think trying to empathize here, I think it can be hard for some people, especially if they're feeling negative about a particular thing that I may or may not have said or implied. But at the same time, this isn't a problem. This isn't a universal problem that I deal with. When I talk to somebody like Ashley, you guys know Ashley, we can get pretty intense in regards to our disagreements, but we also recognize that it isn't personal. And that's also because we both come from the same world. And I think it was Stacy was telling me that you kind of have to meet people where they are. So I'm learning, sometimes maybe the misunderstandings are also a byproduct of my own doing. And sometimes I take responsibility in orchestrating my own downfalls and misunderstandings.
Mm-hmm.
But even when I try, and I'm doing my best to try to be as understanding and empathetic and wanting to listen, I give people a lot of chances. Okay, I'm I am always willing to give people the benefit of the doubt and wanting to understand why they are the way they are. It's never necessarily paid forward towards me. And I've kind of learned to just, I don't want to say accept that, but again, put more value and emphasis on those who are willing to do that rather than those who aren't. So that's kind of a way that I feel as though I've learned through therapy to overcome, not necessarily overcome, but cope, really, with my fears of being misunderstood. I do want to open the floor, though, to just general topics surrounding mental health. Is anybody in particular? Because we've covered a wide range of things, from fears, social media, childhood trauma, various different things that we may assume or speculate that other people may be experiencing as to why they may behave a certain type of way in the public eye. Is there any other general topics surrounding mental health that you guys also want to cover?
I got one.
Go.
I got one. And this is more so not to you guys, but this is more towards the listener. This podcast, you made it this far listening to a bunch of us just sit here and just kind of talk about how we're feeling. I want to ask you, listening to this podcast, a question, and a big question at that. How are you feeling? How are you? What are your fears? What are you doing to understand those? Create closure on that. What is your childhood abuse? I think for me, the biggest thing about opening up and doing this type of podcast is more so for the listener, because I feel like a lot of times content creators in general, we're looked at as kind of like these pillars of the community that are just we have no issues. All we do is stream. Our life is perfect. Everything is great, and it's just we deal with things just like any other person. I mean, we deal with things like any other person. I mean, a lot of times, sometimes you just need that one other person that's just going through something just like you to kind of, get an understanding. You know what I'm saying?
Hell yeah.
And with that being said, my only question is to you, the listener. Yes, you listening to this episode right here, episode 38 ENFERNO Gaming Podcast. Ask yourself, are you okay? I mean, what are your fears? You know what I mean? What kind of abuse did you go through younger that affects you now? Ask yourself these questions. And if you ever need somebody to talk to, my DMs are always open. You know what I mean? This is I'm all about creating a safe space. Again, like I said, on and off stream, always, man. And we did this for y'all. We really did this. I feel like I did this for myself as much as maybe Byrd, Warren, Vitani, just to kind of get things off of our chest. But at the end of the day, putting this on wax, putting this out there is more for you guys. Ask yourself the same questions we were asked today. Ask yourself these questions and answer them truthfully. Don't lie to yourself. Don't be real with yourself. And really, that's all I got. That's all I got. I think everything. We're gonna do this definitely again. Because I feel like we definitely need to, tap in, not with just each other, but just the community in general, man. Just let people know that it is okay to lose sometimes. It's okay to go through things. Like it's crazy to me. In 2022, people feel like they can't struggle, they can't suffer, they can't feel pain, they can't be hurt. Like, we are human beings, dog. We are human beings, and we go through these things. So, amen. But that's just me.
That's it. Before we wrap up, I want to go one last thing before we get to closing statements. Any tips from each of you guys, you want to provide for the listeners in regards to how deal or cope with, the things that they may be struggling, because you all have your own unique perspectives, your own unique experiences that you've all been going through, and have different ways that have helped you guys. All is open to express, to everybody else. What are the things that you've done, or what are some tips that you can provide for others if they're going through something?
I think the best tip I could say for me is to forgive or try to forgive yourself. Like, Byrd said, is that right? Byrd? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's Byrd.
Oh my gosh. Forgive
Wired bird.
yourself.
Oh, that's a new one. Wire Bird. I don't know. I might like that.
And do things that make you happy. If it's video games, no matter what anyone says, play them. If it's watching TV, watch TV. If it's going on set, go on set. If it's cleaning, clean. Do things that help you with your mental health, your emotional state, your physical state, even if it's weird to the world, as long as it's not harming anyone, including yourself, that is the best thing I could say to do. It's a lot of people take bubble baths. A lot of people read a book. A lot of people play in the dirt. What makes you happy? Do that in that moment. Immediately do it. Like, don't wait. Be like, okay, let me calm down. Because no, when you're angry and you try to calm down in that moment, you get angrier. Like you build up. When you try to sit there, you're like, okay, I'm gonna just take a deep breath. Your mind could still be like, get more, get angrier, do something. And you don't want to do that. You want to break things. You don't want to fight. You don't want to say things you don't mean. So, right when that moment happens, do what makes you happy. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Even if it's like, okay, let me try talking to this person first. I have that biggest problem. When I have an issue with someone, I cannot sleep. Cannot sleep unless I talk it out. I used to be the girl that followed people, and I had to learn that me wanting to talk it out is selfish. They need a moment alone. So that was what makes them happy, is walking away, letting them get that out. You gotta do what makes you happy, whatever it is.
Facts. What about you, Byrd? Wired Byrd?
Nah, man. Honestly, just be honest with yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going through something, like, it's okay. It's okay. Even if you messed up, if you did something wrong, just write it down and reflect. Life isn't over. There's always ways to repent. You know what I'm saying? And in some cases, ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Like, see your resources. If you working at a company or whatever, see if y'all got access to mental health. If you're not ready for that, just try different things. Work out. You know what I'm saying? Play video games. Like, try to find some substance that you feel like you're gaining something from. Not something that's like just making it worse. I know, like, I feel like this is the era where the stigma of like mental health is like finally like dying a bit, because back in the day, you go to therapy, people think you crazy, and that's not the case. I tell everybody, going to therapy is basically going to the gym for your mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to the gym for your mind, because your mental is just as important as your physical. You know, find something that gives you purpose, whatever it may be. You know, um, try to surround yourself with positive people. You know, um, my friend group, I always try to make my friend groups as diverse as possible. That way, I understand different backgrounds, different cultures. You know what I'm saying? Like, try to put yourself in different situations, and that can also help combat stuff that you're dealing with. Um, that's all I gotta say.
Okay.
Let me tap in. Um, some advice for the individual and advice for those on the outside. For the individual, a common theme that we kind of explored in our various experiences was the idea of the self-check. Having that level of introspection on how it is that you're feeling and perceiving the world that's currently around you at the given moment.
Yep.
Every now and again, it doesn't hurt to kind of ask yourself, am I okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are things going the way they aren't? And if they're not, well, what can I do to change that? Just on a general level of satisfaction. But then, if it gets to the point where you're asking yourself, I'm okay, and it turns out you're not okay, the first step before even getting to a point where you can address it is to acknowledge to yourself that you're not okay. And it's okay to not be okay, because as we've all been saying throughout this entire episode, it's a part of the human condition. Not everything is going to be, put on a silver plate for us. And happiness isn't just something that's going to be guaranteed. We all are going through our own unique struggles. And it's helpful and beneficial for us to acknowledge the struggles that we go through and to seek out, whether it be through therapy, whether it be through self-care, whether it be through doing the hobbies and things that we love that allow us to feel centered and allow us to cope and deal. As for the people on the outside looking in, cannot stress this enough, and I'll say it again, friends are not your therapists. And as a friend, your job isn't to be your friend's therapist. Your job is to be supportive. And what support looks like isn't always going to be, or for the most part, isn't going to be your definition of support. Support is listening, understanding what are the needs of the person that you're trying to help. And sometimes that need is giving me some space. Sometimes that need isn't going to always directly involve you in any way, shape, or form. Sometimes the best thing you can do for someone is getting out of the way and not taking it too personally. So when it comes to support isn't going to be on your terms. Support is going to be on their terms. Ask them, what can I do? And when they provide you the answer, believe them and do.
Okay. That's a nice, very positive message to end podcast off on.
Mm-hmm.
So, anything else that you guys think that's it?
I mean, does anybody have any closing statements or anything like that? Just in general, not maybe even regarding this topic, but how are we all? Let's check in again. How we're all feeling right now.
I'll add one more thing.
Go ahead.
Regards to anybody going to get therapy, treat it as I'm gonna say this: every therapist isn't the therapist that's going to help you. Sometimes you may get an old therapist, you know what I'm saying, 70 years old, that can't identify with you. You know what I'm saying? Ask for another one. You know what I'm saying? Just like if you go into the gym, if you get a trainer, that trainer might be way too aggressive for your ass. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta get another one that can get you right. That's just another tidbit I wanted to throw in there about that.
But just generally, before we closed out, how's everybody feeling again?
I'm good, man. I'm good. This was fun. This was really good.
I'm healing, not healed. And this was a good experience.
This went a lot better than I expected. Shit, we
off the dome.
Off the dome, okay? We went raw on this one.
That's right. All right, so with that being said, man, this is episode 38 of the Infernal Gaming Podcast, man. I'm your host, Blaze Inferno. As always, make sure you like the video version of the podcast if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate it 5 stars. My name is Blaze X Inferno. You already know that, man. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube at Blaze X Inferno. Follow me on Twitch where I stream 4 days a week at twitch.tv/Blaze X Inferno. And like I said, my DMs are always open. Always open. If you need to slide up in there, yo, Inferno, I ain't feeling good. You know what I mean? I got you. I got you. So with that being said, you know what I mean? I'm going to go around real quick. Vitani, go ahead. Your closing statement to everybody.
Hey everyone. Again, I'm Sleepy Vitani. My socials are all Sleepy Vitani. I just got a TikTok and I'm gonna be adding stuff to my YouTube. And I hope you guys like it. I'm gonna start doing it in August. I do stream 4 days a week on Twitch at Sleepy Vitani. And again, I hope everyone has a great night or wherever you're at, morning, evening. Hope you all have a really good day. And if you need help, again, you have Blaze X Inferno you can reach out to, and you can reach out to me. I'm a listening ear. I might not have the answer, but as you can tell, I will try to find you the answer. I will try to help you and alleviate as much as I can. So definitely have a good time, and I hope you guys are feeling amazing, and I hope you all, continue doing the best you can because you're doing great. If no one told you you're doing good today, I think you're doing an amazing job. And I think you're having I think you're doing enough. You're doing enough right now.
Right. That's right. Because you here, baby. You here, baby. You made it to the end of the podcast, baby. You here, baby. You know what I mean? You good. You in good hands, dog. Word Byrd, let them know what's up, man. Let them know, you know what I mean? We out in Nebraska. We out in Nebraska in September, baby. It's going to fuck down.
Let's
go. It's going to be like a weekend I ain't going to be streaming, y'all, but we going to turn it the fuck up.
Yeah, man. This Word Byrd 93. You can find me on Instagram, spelled WORDBYRD 93. Like I said, man, just ask yourself questions. Take care of yourselves. Try to do anything you can out there in the community. You know what I'm saying? It's all types of people out there that need help. Not necessarily your resources, just help. Spending time, it can go a long way. That's all I'm gonna do. All I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna end it right there. Thank you.
Yes, sir. And Warren, go ahead. The doctor, man.
Nothing much really to plug and everything like that, except maybe if you go on your local meetup site and everything like that, look up Connected Conversation Society and Culture Book Club and whatnot.
Wait, say that again. What the fuck is that?
Connected Conversation Society and Culture Book Club. I got something started.
Damn.
Right.
What does that sound long to you or something?
That joint crazy, bro.
I think it's perfect.
You can't even hashtag that joint, man. Like
Nah.
That's a whole 140 characters right there, dog.
Bruh, okay, we just trying to take, online conversations off online, okay, and just trying to encourage, build community through literature and trying to encourage people to think more about the topics that we care about that are impacting society and culture,
That's cool.
This is my way of trying. This is my way of wanting to, connect back to the community as well as encourage others to, think more and think differently and, consider different perspectives on that matter. So, I mean, hey, you want to be part of the conversation. This is an in-person meetup group and whatnot. I want to get first things started to come in August, just to get an introduction about what works for everybody. But then come September and everything we should have the first book meeting and everything. So hey, tap in, find out what's going on and everything like that. I'll be sure to be manning the whole situation because it's my shit.
Facts. All right. Like I said, man, this has been episode 38. I hope y'all enjoy the double pack this week, baby. 37 and 38 dropping on the same day. We giving you 5 hours of content right there, man. So I hope y'all enjoy it, man. If you haven't listened to episode 37, make sure you go do so. That's the gaming episode with me and my boy E-Night 117. But this has been episode 38. And we'll see you guys on episode 39, whenever that is. Peace out, y'all. Enjoy your night or day or morning, wherever the fuck you at.